Good morning, everybody. I have a new book I want to share with you guys. And of course, I'm back to something that I love. I'm back to Pete the Cat. And guys, I picked this book to share because this book is written on a first grade reading level. So when you guys are in first grade next year, you're going to be able to pick this book up. Some of you already are able to read this book, but most of you are going to be able to read this book next year when you're big, giant first graders. This book is called Pete the Cat Scuba-Cat. And I think about my cat, Luna. And when I tried to give Luna a bath when she was a baby, she was fighting me. Cats don't like to get wet. But let's see what Pete the Cat does about getting wet. And here's our title page. Pete the Cat is excited. He is going scuba diving. Pete puts on a mask and fins. He has a tank full of air. He hopes to see lots of fish. Boys and girls, why do you think Pete wants to see fish? Does anybody know what cats like to eat? You're right, they like to eat fish. I can already tell this is a silly book. If you are lucky, you might see a seahorse, says Captain Joe. A seahorse, says Pete. I can't wait. I never saw one before. Their ridges look like a horse's mane, says Captain Joe. Groovy, says Pete. Pete jumps into the water. Splash! And here he is. You see him jumping in right there? Down, down, down he goes. Up, up, up go the bubbles. Pete looks for a seahorse. He sees a swordfish. Pete swims out of its way. Now, boys and girls, Pete is looking for a seahorse. Do you see something hiding right there? What is that? I think you know what that is. Pete waves to a stingray. It has a long, skinny tail. That's not a seahorse, thinks Pete. Pete looks high and low for the seahorse. Then he feels a tickle. Now, boys and girls, there's the stingray. What do you think might be tickling Pete the Cat? Do you see something in this picture that might help you decide what that is? I think maybe you do. Let's see what happens next. Pete sees a school of fish. They all look alike, except for one. It puffs up. It is a blowfish. It is not a seahorse. Do you see the fish? And then there's the different fish. But he still doesn't see the seahorse. Boys and girls, do you see the seahorse? Where could one be? Pete looks in the rocks. What is that? It is an octopus. Does anybody know how many legs an octopus has? That's right, it has 8. It is not a seahorse. So here's the octopus and here's Pete. Do you see a seahorse? I think I do. Pete feels a tickle. What could it be? Pete turns. He sees a cave. Is there a seahorse inside? I wonder what's tickling Pete. I think I know. Pete sees a crab with claws. A seahorse does not have claws, Pete thinks. The cave is getting darker. Pete feels a tickle. Then he sees an eel. Pete swims past it. It is too long to be a seahorse. Oh no, it's too dark to see. How will Pete get out? And boys and girls, this is an eel. And an eel looks like a snake that lives in the water. Pete sees a jellyfish. It glows in the dark. Pete is almost out of the cave. He sees an angelfish. It is very colorful. There's the jellyfish. And here's an angelfish. I think those are so pretty. I'm really a little bit scared of jellyfish, though. Pete is out of the cave. So why is it so dark? Pete is in a shadow. He is in the shadow of a whale. Yikes! Look at that big giant whale. Do you see how he's casting a shadow on the water? Pete wishes he could jump on a seahorse and ride away. Pete hops on a sea turtle instead, and it takes him to the boat. I did not see a seahorse, thinks Pete. He feels a tickle on his tail. A seahorse, cries Pete. What a surprise. Look, guys, there he was. Do you think Pete is happy here? I think he is too, because that's what he really wanted to see, was that seahorse. You were with me all along, says Pete. What a cool adventure. Boys and girls, I love this book. It's kind of like a mystery where you just don't really know what's going to happen next. So one thing you can do with your books at home is before you start to read the words, make sure you take a picture walk. If I had taken a picture walk through this book, I would be able to tell exactly what's going to happen next before I even read the words. Boys and girls, this is a great book, and I've enjoyed reading Pete the Cat. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. And remember, your teachers love you so much. Bye.